Off and we are recording. So guys, welcome. My name is Adam. I am the founder of the Smarter Contact SMS software. And today I am super excited to bring on somebody that is absolutely crushing it using my software. And not only is he doing it really effectively, he's done it in such a short period of time. Alex is somebody that I've known for a bit here, and he's local in my market. And not only that, he's actually a close friend of mine. He's seen the product from day one when we were just first launching. So guys, I want you guys to welcome Alex here, and very excited. Alex, thank you so much for coming on for today's webinar.
Absolutely, Adam. Well, first and foremost, thank you for setting this whole webinar up. It's an honor and a privilege to be on it. And thank you to everyone who's watching as well. Thank you for taking time out of your busy days. I know in the real estate world, usually by 1 p.m., we're like, hey man, it was 9 a.m., 15 minutes ago. So I know how it goes, man. But yeah, I am super excited to drop as much content and knowledge as I can to help everyone out who's using the Smarter Contact SMS system, which I firmly believe is the best SMS system that there is in the real estate game, bar none.
That's awesome, brother. That's amazing. So, Alex, I'm going to just, kind of get everybody to get to know you first. Guys, Alex is a great dude. He has a cool story of how he started, and he is just somebody that I really respect on a personal level. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your story first before we get into the meat and potatoes here? Tell me how you got started, in the wholesale business.
Sure. So originally I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, suburbs of Chicago. And when I was, after I'd gotten my undergrad degree from Governor State up there, if anyone knows that college, I was just kind of like, in job finding mode, and I worked as a hearing aid specialist. So I was selling hearing aids to people, totally different than real estate. But I had this receptionist who just would not be quiet about real estate. And this was like 2012, 2013. And, it was a time where the real estate market was still decently depressed. And he was just telling me how he was going to buy these apartments and he was going to quit his job. And then one day he did it. And I was just like, tell me more about this real estate thing. So naturally, I think I Googled how to make quick money in real estate, something that anyone would Google. And I found Tom Kroll's wholesaling course, Wholesaling Inc. I bought that course with a credit card because I didn't have any money at the time. And 15 months of struggling and saying this does not work. 15 months later, I was able to get my first deal done, and it made me a believer. So that was a couple of years ago. I've also had some real estate influence from my family. My grandfather, he's an immigrant from Italy. He used to own a 12-unit apartment complex way back in the day. And he had a huge vision to own hundreds of apartment buildings, but he tried to do it while self-managing. It just didn't work out for him. So he kind of never lived down that failure, and he'd always tell me about his vision. So I really wanted to take that vision and make it happen for him. So fast forward to where we are now. I was working as an acquisition manager for a firm in Tampa doing wholesaling. Loved it. However, I'm in entrepreneur mode. I always wanted more. I always knew that I could push it a little bit further. So about 5 months ago now, I decided to start Jandic Investment Group and 131 Real Estate.
You're also taking over the world with your Mr. Bigglesworth cat over there. I love how you're like.
Oh yeah, here, I'll move this a little bit so everyone can see.
Are you plotting a little domination?
Yeah, basically. But yeah, she'll just sit on my lap the entire thing. There's no point in moving her. So when I was working for the wholesaling firm, we spent a lot of time on the phone. I just was not a fan of it. I really am just a fan of texting. I love texting and emailing. That's just my thing. So 5 months ago, I went out on my own. Since then, we've been able to do about 8 or 9 deals, all from Smarter Contact. I use no other marketing channels right now besides referrals. But as of tomorrow, we'll be closing in total, I think, my 33rd deal that I've ever done. But ever since we went out on our own, we're using Smarter Contact, we are just seeing incredible results. from an efficiency standpoint, from a deal size standpoint, from, you know, just all around. Love the system. Don't take any phone calls. It's terrific.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our time is valuable, guys. Our time is so valuable. Somebody got my Austin Powers reference. Thank you, Angie. Guys, our time is so valuable, and that's why SMS is so powerful, because you can save yourself the time. Instead of, you know, calling 1,000 sellers, you can hit 1,000 people in a couple days, a day, even if you want. So it's very cool to be able to do that and save your time, and, you know, follow up with leads that are qualified. So that's amazing, brother. And one thing I really applaud about you, Alex, is the courage to go out and, you know, go for it, go for your dreams, man. So I really am happy that things work out for you this year in that short amount of time. So
thank you, man.
So the next thing I want to ask is, yeah, how long, and you kind of did answer this, is how long have you been on Smarter Contact so far?
So far, I would say that I really started using it intensely 5 months ago, you know, when I made the decision to go out on my own. You know, there's a lot of options for texting out there. And, you know, well, having you in our local market, knowing you, you know, personally before that, I knew that the product was there. And the cool thing is with Smarter Contact is, you know, when I first started using it, it didn't have all the cool features that it has today. So it's like a growing and evolving software.
Yeah, like brick and mortar, like it was super basic.
It worked, but I mean, it was like, there were definitely some frustrations with it, but like over time, like I'd log in one day and the frustration I had yesterday, like it would be fixed. And I'd be like, oh, okay, well, there goes that frustration. Yeah, you've done an incredible job with putting a lot of effort, time, and money into the development of it, and it definitely reflects back.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's, you know, and to all you guys listening, like, this isn't just a business for me. Like, yeah, I mean, I'm the owner. It's great, you know, and I run a business to make money like all you guys. But, you know, for the same time, like, this is my passion, and I pour every single thing I can into this product. I spend a lot of time. It's like, imagine if you're building a house, like I spend months and months looking at the plans to make sure it's perfect. And we got some really cool stuff coming up this year development wise. So I'm developing the hell out of this product. So it's just crazy what we got coming out. So I'm really excited.
Adam, if I can, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'd like to share, you know, one story with everyone watching. So something that really spoke volumes to me, going back to like you investing in the product and really putting your blood, sweat, and tears into it. There were multiple times that I can remember when I was working as an acquisition manager for that firm in downtown Tampa, where Adam would come into our office and he'd specifically ask, like, yeah, he'd just walk in the middle of the day and he'd be like, guys, like, what don't you like about the software?
For sure.
Yeah. What can I improve? And we were just like, well, that's convenient. So we'd show him live, and then he'd be like, oh, okay, let me fix that.
Kind of stuff, man. Yeah, that's what it takes.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I think that really kind of ingrained in my mind, like, where the software was and where it's going. So, you know, that spoke volumes to me.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've implemented a lot from our customers. Like, since the first iteration of it to the 2.0, like a large part of the updates on the 2.0 was just like talking to our favorite customers and saying, hey, like, what do you like? What do you not like? You know, what do you want to see change? And then you take the same patterns and you improvise. So absolutely, that'll be a trend keeping forward with our platform. So you've done about what, like 10 deals or so on SC in a couple months, about 5 months?
Yeah, about 10, it'll be 10th deal will be closing tomorrow.
Okay, that's awesome. So, question for you. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. So guys, I know this is what you guys have really been, you know, wanting to know is, you know, like, how do you do this? Like, yes, I mean, we give you guys the tutorial videos and it shows you how to use the software, but just because you have the manual doesn't mean you can run the car efficiently. So Alex is in the driver's seat. He does this every single day. So what would you say are some strategies for the everyday wholesaler, whether you're a wholesaler doing this every single day? Like, what are the biggest strategies and things that you've learned over your time using it?
So the biggest takeaways that I have, the biggest time savers would be start with I'll use this metaphor, start with the fuel that you put into the engine. So the engine being Smarter Contact, the fuel being the list. So when you're doing any type of marketing, I like very targeted marketing. So if I get a response back from anyone, I want to know that that specific property or lot is already a deal. Now I just have to find the motivation within the person, and then we can come to an agreement. So starting off with lists, I like to hit, the vacant land list, tax delinquent, and absentee owner. Those are my 3 favorite lists to hit. And what I would recommend everyone texting doing is, if you can, I know on ListSource you can, for the list you can get from ListSource, but filter down the list to the type of homes that you want. So a lot of trouble that I was running into in the beginning is I would get I was doing it by county, and I would get these homes in the middle of nowhere on 3 acres with well and septic that no matter what price I got it at, it was going to take me forever to get rid of. So filter it down. I like to do by zip code, square footage of the house, square footage of the lot, but make sure that you're getting houses that when you get them under contract, they're easy to dispose of. So that would be the first thing. Make sure that your lists are set and that you put a lot of time into filtering out what you don't want on your list.
Global deal.
Yeah. The second thing would be the message that you're texting people. 2 hours ago on Facebook, you actually just asked me about this.
Yeah.
So my recommendation for messages, you actually posted a thing in the Facebook group that had some really great messages and responses on it. But when I'm texting people, I always believe less is more, because my message is usually it's hey, Adam, are you interested, or are you taking offers on 123 Main Street? That's it. And I mean, I always try not to, no matter what type of marketing you're doing, you're going to get pissed off people, but I try to piss off the least amount of people. That way I can get to the people that are motivated the quickest. So with that message, we get a great response rate. We get, all the no's, we sort all those out, and then all the maybes and yeses or what's your offer, we can just focus right on those. And what I do is I just mark all of them as nurture, and then I just take it and I just show all the ones that I marked as nurture, and then I follow up with those ones. I pretty much forget about the rest for a couple hours.
This is a good time, I think, because some of these people that might not have used a system before, if it's okay, are you able to share your screen on your side? And I'll continue to ask questions, and then we'll show you guys the screen of how, he has it set up. And so for some of you guys that aren't as familiar with the software, so you can kind of follow along visually.
Yeah, give me just 1 second. I've got to change my access on my computer so I can see it. All right, this might take me a minute.
And guys, what we'll do is, guys, really, if you have questions, keep them noted. We're here to answer as many questions as you guys have. We'll do a Q&A at the end. So definitely, we'll have some time for your questions there at the end there.
Sorry, I don't know why it's not letting me do this. Can you see my screen or no?
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, you can see my desktop?
Yeah, I can see Smarter Contact pulled up now.
Oh, cool. All right. I didn't realize that doesn't show on my end. Okay, perfect. That's what I want. All right. So let's run a campaign. So I made a specific list. I made a small list for today, 49 people, just so we're not here for, the better part of 3 hours. But usually like to have, between 500 and 1,000 people on my list. So I'm just going to name this SC sample list. We'll just load up the list in here. Select your message. All right. So I'm pretty messy in Smarter Contact. I make a bunch of these messages, but this is the one that I use the most. So hi, first name. I was wondering if you're taking offers on address, city, state. Load it up, send out leads at once, save campaign, send, confirm. Sent 61 messages on here. And then we'll go over to, all right, and we'll just wait for them to come in. So going back to what I was talking about before, I use a lot with the grade here. So nurture is what I was talking about before. And when they start populating in here, if we can get some good responses, what we'll see is that they'll start off, I think they start off as low, and then you can change the grade of them to nurture or whatever, you know, you want. I think another way to do it is with start as well. So let's see if we can get some response.
Yeah, and Angie, to quickly answer your question, yeah, all 49 messages, all those messages will go out at the same time. Yeah, they're all going to go out like now. Yeah, so we are actually finishing out the feature to click through, which is going to be out here any week now. But yeah, all the messages are going out, so sellers should have received them by now.
It takes so usually what I'll do too is I'll send out, you know, let's say I send out 700 text messages. I'll go and I'll eat lunch for 15, 20 minutes, and then I'll come back and respond to everyone.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like to be like there right when they get the text messages, but think of it like if you're texting a girl.
That's a really good tip, guys. I would actually, I know that's not huge, but your time is valuable. Like when you hit send on a campaign, you don't have to respond like right away. I mean, you can wait 5 minutes. Actually, I think if, you know, my thought was, you know, if you respond the same second, you kind of look desperate. You know, but if you respond maybe 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later, you kind of have like, okay, like, you know, I want you, but I don't need to do it, and kind of draws their curiosity even more. So I think that might be a good way for you guys to do it is to you know, wait a couple minutes. And Carlos brings up a good point. So the grades are fully editable. So Alex, can you click the grade drop down there? So
Yeah.
all editable. So you can actually, I see a lot of my users doing like great lead, good lead, bad lead, like wrong number, not interested. So you can customize the grades however you want. And then what's really cool is you can send, let's say for example, the default, you could set the default to be low or whatever bad lead or whatever you want to qualify the default lead to come into. But you can push them out all to the CRM or the DNC or any way you want. So like what's really cool is if you look at this little arrow, that little arrow to the right, and this is where you're really going to start seeing some value is being able to send them, you know, all to a Podio account or a CRM or, you know, export them as a CSV file. But I will give one word of caution, and we're actually in the process of fixing this, guys. This is super, super, super important. We've been experiencing a little issue where if you highlight all the leads and click add to DNC, like it'll actually export all the leads to the DNC. So we're actually working on correcting that right now. So just as a small little tip, do not hit add to DNC when you have all of them checked off until we fix that little issue with the software. But otherwise, what's really cool is when you have all your grades, you can push all of them out at once instead of individually selecting and pushing them out, which is pretty time.
That's actually a really cool feature, and I'm going to sound stupid when I say this. I didn't even know you could do that.
Are you serious?
I was totally I am just so laser focused on using it the way that I know how. I did not know you could do that.
I love it. That's fine. Well, it's a cool feature. You can send them all. You can push them all out to any one campaign. So the leads should start populating. What other tips do you have, like for somebody that's using this? You know, like when you're running a campaign, are there any other just general best practices as we wait for some conversations to load up?
Again, time is going to be your best friend. Going off, you know, the 20 minutes, taking, you know, having lunch and whatnot. Don't be desperate and texting these people back like right away on each one, because when you do that, you're just going to scrape the surface with the lead. So the deals, I can account most deals that I got under contract. I would talk to these people for the least amount of time would be like 6 hours. The most would be, you know, multiple weeks where, you know, each day just texting a little bit and asking disqualifying questions with them too. You know, hey, are you working with a realtor or attorney that we need to bring into the conversation? Really trying to find their true motivation, you know, saying, hey, I'm still a little bit confused as to why you're selling this house. It looks really nice. And then trying to get, you know, their true motivation for, you know, oh, well, we evicted a tenant, or, oh, well, you know, it's just, we inherited the house or something like that. So time is your best friend with texting. And that's why I like it versus being on the phone. The other thing that I do while we're waiting for these leads to come in is I'm a little bit of I like to do my due diligence on people. So I use TruthFinder, and I'll look these people up as I'm texting them. TruthFinder usually gives me their Facebook profiles too. And I'll go on their Facebook, and let's say they like, I don't know, the Tampa Bay Rays.
Wow.
I'll put a little text in there, and I'll say, hey, did you catch the Rays game last night? Or, hey, are you watching the Rays game?
Dang, that's a bomb right there.
So
guys,
that
is what I want to see right there. That is the kind of stuff that separates you from the pack. I mean, imagine you use this. I think this is a really smart tool, especially if you have a hot prospect, like somebody that you know is like somewhat serious. On your follow-up, hell yeah, I'm gonna call them and I'm gonna say, hey, Mrs. Smith, yeah, did you catch the game last night, or did you see the game, the basketball game, or whatever the situation might have been? So yeah, I mean, 100%, 100%. I would definitely try to get some good rapport with these people.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you can. The things I really look for is, does that person have an active real estate license, or are they a broker themselves? Because those are the people. I've done deals with people that are brokers in real estate, but it just allows me to prompt the question, you know, why would you sell this to me when you could just list it on the MLS? Right. So you can really cut through a lot of tape. And looks like we got our first response here. We got a whopping no, but this is actually a really good response. I love responses like this, because here's why. If I was on the phone with this person, I would have had to dial their number, talk to them, get the no from them. They might be rude to me. Probably takes me 3 or 4 minutes to, you know, go from start to finish before I'm on to my next call. They said no. I just don't even have to text them back. But here's another golden nugget you can do. I know I wasn't supposed to show the address, but there's a free address for anyone that wants it.
Sulphur Springs, that's the hood right there. They should want to sell that stuff. That's literally, I know where that is. That's the freaking hood. That's people get shot up.
It is the hood, and actually, the house that we're closing tomorrow is right down the street from this one. Okay, so here is a little thing that you can do. Whenever they say no, always add in this message: no worries, you wouldn't happen to have any other homes or know anyone who is taking cash offers on their home. Would you? ? Send.
Bang.
And what that will do is it will turn no's into referrals and yeses. Because I've gotten 2 of those 10 deals that I did were from no's that I was able to turn into yeses.
Oh, that's great metrics. So 20% of your deals came in from somebody that cold told you no, and you just said, hey, do you know somebody else?
Yes, absolutely.
Easy. That's a really cool stat, man. Is everybody listening to that? Because I hope that's a nugget for people, because you get so many no's, especially on text message. I mean, I'm surprised the feed isn't coming up, because normally by now you would have had probably about 20 conversations come up. But
it would. Sorry.
Can you fix this?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. Usually I'd have more by now, but this was an older list that I'm using on here, so I just used it for today's purposes. I probably should have used a little bit of a newer one. Let me refresh this and see if we can get any more on here. But yeah, doing that little trick right there, because I mean, we probably get 90 to 95% no's. So why not turn those no's into yeses?
Exactly.
So,
yep. So guys, copy that text, like right there and put that into your macros. So when somebody says cold no, like you can create these custom macros. And for some of you guys not familiar, you can create auto responses. So if somebody says, hey, I want an unrealistic number, or who are you? How'd you get my number? You or your VA or anybody operating the system can just boom, one click, touch it, and boom. The other question that I have is, how much do you use the quick chat versus the actual chat in this system?
That's a really good question. I would say it's probably like 80-20, 80% quick chat, 20% the full chat. The quick chat is a really, really useful feature I have found. I mean, you can see all the text messages coming in. You can respond to them right here, but I love the quick chat, and I love the little macro thing down here. It is
if you could show the detailed chat on this customer, because obviously it's a dead lead.
Oh yeah.
You could just so people can see how it looks.
Sure. Yeah, so this is how it looks on here. You can change the grade of it here. You can favorite it. Yeah. It's cool how Smarter Contact is kind of its own CRM within itself as well. I mean, you can add in all the stuff on here if you choose to. Like if you don't want to pay for a Podio subscription, you can literally manage all your leads from Smarter Contact as well.
Exactly. And then one thing I recommend, guys, this is a big nugget that I recommend is Alex, if you scroll down to the bottom to the notes section. So one thing, and this is huge, and Alex, I know you're going to agree, but one thing I hear across the board from people that are closing deals is the deal is in your follow-up. The deal is always in your follow-up. It's not the first time, because they're getting hit by tons of other people are calling them or sending them direct mail. You're just another person, right? So here's one strategy that I do that I would recommend all you guys do, right? So every time you make any kind of contact, let's say you called the diva, right? Let's say you talked to them. Today is what, the 15th? So what I normally do is I would put 01-15. I would type in the notes of what I had. Like, so for example, Alex, if you can just do that, however you want to do it, and then just type in the notes, seller was interested, and yeah.
Do you know about text?
Okay, and then let's say you have another entry on 01-18, just hit enter. So you can set it up how you want, but now you've got a flow of notes, and you can remember what you talked about. So even if you talked about something relatable, like the seller talked about their son going off to college, or maybe just the game last week or something, you're not going to remember that. If you're doing this full time, you're not going to remember all these things. But then you could be like, hey, Mrs. Smith, listen, just following up, how's everything with your son, going off to college, ABC, but you've got relatable points of interest. Just like he's got the truth finder, any relatable points you want to talk about, and then you can bring them up and create even more rapport with your seller. And that's huge, guys. Like it really, the way to convert your deals isn't just only to sell them or, sell them why they should do business with you. You want to create rapport with them. And then these notes are really valuable as an area for you to comment and track what you guys talked about.
Adam, I can actually vouch for that specifically, and I'll use it in an example. I have the deal that we're closing tomorrow. When I was originally talking to the seller, so my wife is in her 3rd trimester of pregnancy right now. And when I was texting back and forth with the seller, I was talking about, oh yeah, we're ordering all the baby's furniture for the nursery. And she related to me because she was about to be a new grandma, and she was so excited. And you can bet for the past 30 days, she's been asking me, oh, how's the baby? How's your wife? How's this and that? The last thing she's been texting me about is, the actual deal and closing. So yes, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust. So the sooner you can find common ground with people, the better you'll be. Because like you were saying, and Davida said no again. But hey, at least we know now. But
she's pretty forward.
Yeah, she is pretty forward. We'll just say, for this, we'll just say, thank you. Have a blessed day. And I'll always be positive with them. Yeah. Because again, I might be the 3rd person to text them today. So if, let's say that in a month they do want to sell the house, they're going to go back to the person who, was nice to them.
Positive. Exactly.
Yeah. Look, see, She was actually nice. She said, thank you, likewise.
Spreading positivity in the world. That I love that. That just, it's not just, hey, give me what I want. If I don't get it, like, you're useless to me. It's still, these are people. It's a people business. Let's go back to the main screen and see if anything populated.
Sure. Let me just get back to.
You just hit the home button.
I'm the laziest computer person that you'll ever meet. So I do things one way. I don't know how to do them any other way, which is kind of odd. But all right, let's go to campaigns. Man, wouldn't you know it? On the one time that we do it on a live webinar, I get the worst response rate I've ever gotten. I mean, I could go into some of these past campaigns on here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're comfortable doing that, maybe filter out the leads that are not good or something that you're not,
sure.
So you just see the flow of conversation.
It's going to show names on here, but I really want to give everyone on the webinar kind of like a good idea of what some of these campaigns look like. So I already deleted out a lot of the leads that I didn't want to talk to on here. This one, or let's use this one here. So sometimes you get funny responses like, Joe, can you babysit tonight? Like, obviously that's just someone messing with me. You get a lot of what's your offer people, and you can just see on here, I mean, sometimes I'll text people, 5, 6, 7 times before I get a response on here. What's your offer? So this one's just a tire kicker. We'll retarget him in another campaign, but that's another thing that I think is very, very important, is just consistently being consistent. I like to, each list I do, I refresh every 3 to 4 months, and each list I want to hit up to about 10 times. And I find a lot of responses I get are going to be between that 5th and 10th text. Because by then they're like, all right, this person is not a machine. Like,
wait, say that again. Like, within the conversation, like, go into that a little bit more on your follow-up.
Yeah. So my follow-up, if I don't get a response from them, so you can see it here. So with Michael, my first attempt was September 12th, 1:09 p.m. Second attempt, September 24th, 12:09. Third attempt, October 2nd, 3:04. Fourth, October 4th, 5:01. So I try to do it at different times throughout the day. And then just keep on going, over and over, basically, until they tell you to stop, or until, they respond. It's like the same thing with like direct mail. You get the best response rate on the 5th to 10th hit. You get lucky on some with the first, but it's the more people see your text, your advertising, the more they're going to think of you. And maybe it wasn't the right time to sell 2 months ago, but maybe their situation changed. The situations always change, and now they're more motivated, or maybe
you were positive with them, and you had a good follow up with them, and they remembered you as positive. So they're probably going to reach back out to you over somebody that reached out only once, guys. I cannot stress, like, I'll say this once, say it a million times. The key is in the follow-up. You're not going to just expect to send out a bazillion deals, blast a billion deals, and then, like, on your first approach, I mean, it definitely happens. But if you really want to look at the metrics and the numbers, prove it for wholesalers across the country that I talk to, is it's on their 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th contact, and building rapport with that person that they eventually decide to sell them because they like sell them the house because they like the person. Yeah.
And one thing going off that as well, I encourage everyone on this webinar, if you haven't already, for those who have or haven't closed the deal, when you close the deal, you should really take a lot of pride in that deal. And I make sure I post every single one of my deals on Facebook and Instagram. And the reason why I do that is for skeptical sellers that aren't sure, because again, I'm just a cold text message to them. They need to know me. But once I build rapport with them, once I'm sure that they're a motivated seller, I'll just say, hey, at this stage, I usually tell people just to go to my Facebook or Instagram. Here's a link to it. Check it out. And if it seems like I'm a trustworthy person, if it seems like I'm someone that you'd want to do business with, let's take the next step and go from there. And being an open book like that really allows them to Facebook stalk you, is what it does. But I mean, when they see on your page, you know, you've done deal after deal after deal, it lets them know that, you know, you talk the talk and you walk the walk.
Right. You're verifiable for sure. For sure. Yeah. Be an open book, guys. Question for you. This is a pretty common question that I get is how long do you want to be texting people? Like, how long do you keep the conversation going over text before you transition to a phone call?
Good question. It all depends
I'm
on
getting you with the steak and lobster, baby. I'm going all out. We got you here, so I'm taking advantage.
All right. So I'm going to answer that question in a couple different ways. So it depends on the person. So let's say I'm going to again bring it back to the deal I'm closing tomorrow. This lady was freaking motivated. She literally, her text response was, "Meet me at my house at 5:30 tonight. It's between you and one other person. I'm selling to someone." And I was like, "I'll be there at 5:30. With her, my third text was, and I kind of took a little bit of a leap of faith, but it turned out for the better on this. My third text was, "Hey, I'm going to text you from my personal line because it's getting late and I'm heading out of the office." And I do that for two reasons. Number one, I work from home, so I never really head out of the office. But what it does is when you're on Smarter Contact, people are getting green text bubbles. Now, if anyone is team iPhone here, we can argue this all day, but I'm a firm believer that a lot of people, when they see blue bubbles, it authenticates something in their mind that says, okay, this person's even more legit now. So I would say about 80% of the sellers I work with, oddly enough, are also iPhone users. And as soon as I hit them from my personal line, and I actually don't ever really like to talk to them on the phone, I'll just bring the text over to my personal line. That's when they know it's the real deal. But I try not to ever hop on the phone with anyone. I'm not a phone call person.
Okay. So you are closing most of your deals just via text, so staying on text message. Can you give an example of a good deal? Let's say one of the deals that you closed. Like, I want to see what your conversation flow looks like and the kind of questions that you ask that you're going through.
Yeah.
Do you have a deal, like maybe one that you closed that you could show us? I mean, if you could just search by the address or the seller's name or something.
Yeah, let me see on here. Just refresh this really quick. You know what? All right, this is gonna sound weird. I can probably find it on my iPhone, but I actually can't find it on here because of this. Whenever I bring the conversation over to my cell phone, since I retarget that list and I reblast it, I actually add them to the DNC on Smarter Contact, so that way I don't start over with them saying, "Hey, are you taking offers on this house?"
Okay, cool.
So
you've already canned some of those. So maybe you can give us some insight on how your conversation flow is, because it sounds like you're keeping most of your stuff over text.
yeah. So
show us like a good conversation flow, like the nuances you use, the kind of questions you ask, and then how you get them to be less guarded. Because my biggest concern, with keeping the conversation strictly over text is how do you get that guard down? People have their guard up a lot.
All right, let me scroll. I'm just scrolling through on my actual phone. Okay. So I usually like to start off, this was actually cold text, some of it from Smarter Contact transferred over my phone. So I'm sorry you can't put it on my screen, because it won't be on my iCloud messages down here. But so this was just with a seller. I had a little bit of chatting with him on Smarter Contact. On this one, he lived in, the deal was in Riverside Heights, which is less than a mile away from me. And he requested that I drive out there. He wanted to meet me in person to verify me. So this isn't the best example of it, but it's an example nonetheless. I texted him because one night he was like, he said, "Hey, Alex, I'm not feeling too well. Can we do it tomorrow?" So I said, "Sure." The next morning I texted him. I said, "Hey, Greg, this is Alex. How are you feeling?" Not, "Hey, Greg, when am I coming to your house?" After that, he
repeat that. So you asked, "Hey, how are you feeling?"
Yeah, just to start off the conversation.
Guys, listen to that. That is huge. It's not, "Hey, how do I do business with you?" I think that conversation probably would have been would have gone differently if you said, hey, like I'm still interested in your house, as opposed to like, hey, like what's up with you? Like, how are you doing? And that definitely probably at least took his guard down a little bit to be able to like, all right, this guy's reasonable and he can trust me. So yeah, that's awesome, guys. That's awesome.
Exactly. So from there, he said, hey, still not feeling too well today, but I think it's okay if we meet in person at the property. So met him over there, and I actually remember this one. He was the biggest tire kicker in the world, and he just refused to flat out sign a contract. So I was like, I wish I would have gotten this done via text. Instead of saying, hey, you know, my offer is only good for 24 hours, what I really focused on, I'll just explain this one from here. This deal, he had 400K in city code violations, and he had no idea 400K was more than the value of the property. So that's what the problem was. And in my mind, I actually didn't know at this point that you can get these city code violations reduced, you know, down to 10% of what they are originally. So I thought it wasn't going to be a deal, but I left him with a follow-up text. I said, Greg, thanks for showing me the property today. I'll call the city Tuesday to find out more information on it. I look forward to talking to you on Friday. So it wasn't so much of a, are you going to accept my offer? It's, hey, now that I know what the problem is, let's figure out the problem together. And then from there, he was pretty mentally unstable. So a lot of the texts were just, you know, how are you feeling? How are you doing? He was really nervous because the house had a demolition order on it. His next text was, they stalked out the yard like they're about to tear it down today. The house was a tear down, but he had some stuff in it. He said, on top of that, someone was illegally using my debit card this weekend, so it's disabled. I have to go to the bank to dispute the charges. So right away what that told me is, you know, he's really opening up to me. So it totally took the conversation off the property. So, you know, I helped him out with his bank stuff. I recommended, you know, a few different identity protection things that he can use. And we went back and forth and back and forth. And I mean, sometimes we'd stay up till midnight and just be texting.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You're solving a problem. You're building a relationship. It's not about real estate. Like that is so perfect how you did that. It's not just, hey, business as usual. Because what I found is, you know, when people are strictly business, if the house is worth 300, they'd be like, oh, it's business. Well, then I want 295 for it, like cash, no realtor or something, you know? So, I mean, if you can be reasonable with them, they'll trust you and they'll be reasonable with you. So really, really good point.
Yeah. Just to kind of like sum it up, I get a lot of questions from people that maybe they're in the house flipping game and they're looking to transition into wholesaling, or maybe wholesaling is just not working for them and they're trying to get, you know, that first deal. Number one thing is you have to take the conversation off the house. It's never about the price, it's about the problem. And if there's not a problem with the seller, then chances are they're probably not a motivated seller, because wholesaling is just about solving problems. That's all we do. Anyone who doesn't have a problem and just wants to get, you know, the best price for their property, have a realtor on your team that you can just refer them to, always being provided solutions for them. But you will never make a seller without a problem motivated. So don't ever try to make anyone motivated. It doesn't work. Well, it never has for me, at least.
Dang, that was a bomb right there. And I would love for you to record that for your own. That was, you know, use that, because that was really, really good, guys. Everything he just said was spot on. It's not about the real estate. It's not about the transaction. It's about solving the problem and asking them and figuring out what the problem is and working a solution together. So, Alex, thanks for sharing that, man.
Absolutely.
So, question for you: like when you're organizing your campaigns and Smarter Contact, like I see you have it set up in different ways, in different campaigns. Like, do you have a science of how you're organizing your campaigns? Number one, and then number two, how many texts are you sending out per day?
So to answer the first question is, I really don't have a science. I'm a very sloppy workplace person. That's just the way I operate. Really what I pay attention to is the number of texts per month, which would be the answer to your second question. At first, you know, I thought that sending 1,000 texts per month would be great, but it wasn't producing the results I wanted. So I upped it to 3,000 and 5,000. Right now we do about 6,000 a month, and we'll be increasing that number to probably about 10,000. And I have found at the 6,000 level, I'm closing about 3 deals a month right now on average, with an average deal size of just under 20,000.
That's great. Those are really, so you're doing 2,000 messages per deal. So every 2,000 texts you send out, you're getting a deal.
Correct. And
that's
the reason why I think that we're seeing those numbers right now is it all goes back to sorting the list into exactly what we want. So if Davita did respond to me and she said, yes, I'd like to sell my house, and we came to an agreement at a discounted price, I already know that her house is a deal just because of its location, square footage, and a few other things that I put into the list. So that's why I would say that we're probably getting those numbers. So again, the gas that you put into the car matters a lot. Make sure you're giving it premium fuel, so that way when it goes through the premium machine, you're getting a premium result.
Yep, that 93 gas, no doubt.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. But yeah, I would recommend anyone, you know, if you really want to make a huge dent in this wholesaling game and just dominate your area, I would recommend between 6,000 and 10,000 texts a month.
6,000 to 10,000 texts per month. That's pretty good. And then on a daily basis, so you managers, we just break it down. Like, how many would you say you ideally would that be a day? Like 300, 200, 300, 500?
If you average it out per day, yeah, somewhere around there. You know, as entrepreneurs, our schedules can be very sporadic, but that's one of the things that text is so good about. So like today's January 15th. I've only sent out 1,000 texts this month. I'm way behind because I was traveling. They had to stay in a couple hotels, putting together baby furniture. So my marketing's going to be very heavily loaded towards the end of the month. And some months are just going to work out like that. But it's the law of averages. Keep sending out texts, keep getting deals. But yeah, about 300 a day is what it comes out to.
And then go back in your follow-up with all the deals that were maybes or medium deals that, you know, you talked to 3 months ago, and, you know, going through and following up with all your old leads too. So that's, if I can add on to that, that's another very valuable piece. When you've already spent the money, you've already spent the list, you've already texted the person, you've created the contact with them, and now you can text them back 3 months later and say, hey, Mrs. Seller, I, you know, just talked to you a while ago, you weren't interested. I wanted to see if anything changed. You know?
Yeah, and to your point on that too, that's where text has its biggest advantage over like direct mail, I would say. Because like direct mail, you're paying for every single campaign that you put out there. And direct mail is not, you know, 2 cents a postcard. It's a lot. It's a lot more than that. So texting is much, much less expensive with a much better return over time, as long as you're following up, you know, 5 to 10 times with these people.
Exactly. Okay. All right. So the other thing too, guys, I haven't really talked to you guys and released the update notes that we have coming out, but we've got a ton coming out of development right now. So I'm really excited. But one other cool way that you can use this outside of just prospecting for cash for sellers, is you're using it as your cash buyers. You can actually sell your deals with Smarter Contact. So, you know, you've got the platform, you're already using it, you're paying the subscription. So might as well market your deals, because even your properties you have under contract, you can do an email blast, but emails it's really not getting the response rate that, even from your cash buyers, even your VIP cash buyers, they want to get a text. If it's a hot deal in a hot neighborhood, I'd rather get a 3-2, hey, it's $100,000, you know, these are the details, over a text message, as opposed to an email if I'm a cash buyer. So use the system also as a cash buyer list. We created these little folders for you where you can drag and drop things into it. You can create a campaign for your cash buyers. And we're going to drop a webinar on how to do that as well, coming up next from our team as well, to how to market your deals to cash buyers. So just to keep that in mind, that you can do that as well. So Alex, before I open it up to the Q&A, are there any other tips or tricks that you want to share with everybody?
I wrote some things down on here. Going off what you just said, yeah. Cash buyers are probably tired of getting 20 emails of deals a day. They become numb to it. So I'm actually moving all of my dispositions to texting by the end of this year. There'll be 0 more emails because my response rate on emails has just gone down, down, down.
Yeah.
And what I've been doing is I use a texting app on my phone to text out to cash buyers, and that's how I sell 90% of my deals. So
makes sense.
Texting is the way to go, man.
Awesome.
All right, Q&A time.
Okay. All right, cool. So guys, now is the time. You've got me, you've got Alex. We're here for you. So fire away on your questions. What are the biggest questions that you might have for us? So I'm going to go through here. What do you say? You want full retail price? Okay. So Sim, you asked, what do you say when they want full retail price for the house? We actually have a script that we have, and I encourage all of you to email us if you don't already have it, that we recommend for our clients. I think it goes something along the lines of, yeah, we typically don't pay retail price, but if you wanted a reasonable offer, let me know. I think it was something along those lines. But Sim, just send an email to support@thesmartercontact.com, and we'll send you the scripts that are the most effective that we know are working now.
I would completely agree with that. If someone wants full retail for their home and they can get it, by all means, they should get it. They deserve to get it. They're probably not a motivated seller. And yeah, I would just go along with whatever script. Those scripts that you posted, Adam, those are really, really good. The ones that you posted a while back, if you can post those again in the Facebook group, I think everyone could really benefit from a refresh on those.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll try to get it more out there. And guys, we have a private Facebook group. So, if you're watching this and, you're not on it, and if you're, we're going to verify, we're going to make sure you're already a member, but if you're an existing member of the software and you're an active member, join the group. We post questions and feedback and a lot of great stuff on there. So yeah, but if you don't have the script, just email us, support@thesmartercontact.com. I'm going to type it here and we will supply that for you. Boom. All right. JB, do you reblast your leads after a while to sift them? Yes, you definitely want to hit the old leads that you have. We're actually finalizing a feature now, which is going to be really cool, where let's say you send a campaign and all the people that didn't respond, you can export them out and then resend them a new campaign, or the ones that did respond, send them a new campaign. So it's kind of like a follow-up, but absolutely, especially if you've paid for the leads, you've paid for the skip tracing, you have all of that data already, you want to hit them again. Usually about 6 to 8 weeks is what I've heard as the most effective. Alex, do you have any thoughts on hitting old leads and old lists that you paid for?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to talk about a deal on Monday that we closed, so this week, that this exact thing happened. So I had texted a lead through a different platform way back in the day, like a year and a half ago, and he was motivated, but just not motivated enough at the time. And I didn't even realize that when we were closing this deal on Monday, that I had talked to him before until I was cleaning everything up in Podio and I saw that. So it took a year and a half, and I didn't even realize I talked to him twice, but I reblasted him a second time around. And what had happened was the value of his home in that area due to appreciation in a year and a half made that deal a deal. But it wasn't a deal a year and a half ago, but it was a deal today. So absolutely reblast your leads, reanalyze the comps. If it wasn't a deal a year and a half ago, especially in some areas in every market, appreciation can really make a huge difference and turn those non-deals into deals.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, cool. Any other feedback that you might have? Hold on one second. Any other questions, guys? One second. Okay.
And one thing to disclose. So again, I sent out 49 messages on there. Getting one response, that is not typical at all. It usually is much, much more than that. But as luck would have it today, I tried to on the webinar.
So
we'll do a follow-up. If she changes her mind and that turns into a deal, I'll make sure that I post it in the Facebook group.
Hell yeah, definitely. What is your response rate? Do you have a response rate percentage that you track?
No, I actually don't, which I know I should. Everyone does. But again, I'm a super sloppy, smarter contact user. And as long as I'm sending, 6,000 texts a month and we're closing 3 deals a month, I just track closed deals. That's the only thing that I really track. But
Okay.
I should.
Yeah, we're coming out with a lot more metrics on the reporting side. So you're gonna be able to see a lot of that kind of data coming out. Does your phone number go on a spam list? Angie says, does your phone number go on a spam list? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Angie, but we do have a rotation that we go through with the phone numbers. And I would say that we have the best hands down algorithm for getting you the highest deliverability rate. I mean, I spent a lot of time crafting this way to get the highest deliverability rate. So, but after a while, your number is recycled after several months. So that way, even if carriers start to pick up on that number, now you've got a new number that you'll recycle in to use. So I hope that answers that question, Angie. If it doesn't, then just follow up with another follow-up. We got another one that says, hey, have you tried absentee, inheritance, probate? Absolutely, Akeem. I think that's a really, really strong targeted list that you can hit. I know with probate, it's kind of a sensitive area where it's like the quicker you hit them, the better, but it's also a little sensitive in that time, so you just got to be really careful. So absolutely, I would very much recommend absentee inheritance, and it's that's motivated. Angie, Angie asked, how many numbers on Smarter Contact? I think that we should do a tutorial for you, because you can get as many numbers as you want. So you can get 10 in an area code. So literally as many as you want to get onto your platform. And feel free to message support. We can do a live detailed tutorial for you on how to actually in depth use the software on that kind of stuff. Who do you use for skip tracing you found is the best response when texting? Anthony, thanks for asking. Okay, so here's what we are doing, and I'm really, really excited to do this. This is something that's going to be game-changing for us as a brand. So I'm partnering with a company that has, I mean, when I say the best data in the market, like nobody comes close. What I'm getting is data not only from the credit companies, so Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. So not only am I getting credit level phone numbers, I'm also getting it from the carriers. So from Verizon, from AT&T, like nobody has this data. And like when I pull a list, I get like 99.6% of the list gets found. It's insane. So most of the other guys, even the top end guys that are getting skip tracing, we're getting an extra 5–10% of the phone numbers that they can't even get. And then we're also getting call windows where it shows you the best time of day to call. There's a lot of stuff we have coming out. That's going to be in our system within the next 30 days. So Anthony, thanks for asking about that. We're going to be dropping it really soon. And the pricing is also going to be reasonable too. So we're not, we'll keep it reasonable in cost, but quality wise, you won't find anything better in the market than our skip tracing. Yeah, I had to drop 6 figures a year, multiple 6 figures a year to get it. It's not cheap. but
that's like part of what makes Smarter Contact so awesome. And I think that's one of the big things that it's missing right now is that skip tracing links. Now it's going to become really an all-in-one system. And man, I will tell you, I'm super, super excited, because I know that if you're behind it, Adam, it's going to be like top tier quality, because you wouldn't let anything else into the software.
Thank you, brother. Yeah. You guys should see what we have coming out for 2020. I can give you guys a sneak peek if you want, but we have a ton. I just hired like 2 or 3 more developers that we have coming out. So it's just a ton in development that we have devoted to this product. So, for some of you guys that might not already be customers, you're going to see a ton of stuff. I did a webinar yesterday, and some of the people were asking me what the difference with ours versus maybe another platform out there. And I can quickly tell you guys, there's a couple things. Number one, it's the efficiency of the software. It's very simple, but it's very efficient to track your leads. The organization of the data is very solid. It's very, very solid. Our customer support is exceptional. Carlos, our support team, I know he's on right now. We have an excellent support team with Carlos. So we're always there for you if you need anything. We have really just like the deliverability rate with ours is exceptional. So we have a lot of different things that I think you'll find very useful using our platform. Best time of day to send text and best response rate. So what's the best time of day that you send text, Alex?
Best time of day, the best 2 times a day I would say would be around noon, and then anytime between like 6 and 7 p.m. I have found that most of the deals that I get done, the sellers do work a 9 to 5 job and usually have a lunch break around noon. And then once they're off work in the evening, you know, they're on Facebook or Instagram on their phone and they just see my text pop up.
Okay. All right. So after noontime on your list.
Yeah. And just be careful if you're on Eastern time. You never want to send a text blast at like 9 a.m. if that's 6 a.m. Mountain time. And you can really make a lot. You can really make a lot of people upset, and you don't want to do that.
No doubt. No doubt. We'll be to upload a big list where the software always send the cell phones. Yeah, Adrian, there's really no way for the software to know. I think a couple people ask this is like, there's no way for the software to know if it's a landline or a cell phone. But after we attempt to deliver it the first time, it scrubs out any undelivered phone numbers. So it doesn't auto scrub for phone numbers that are undeliverable. So if you want more of the technical stuff, I mean, we can do a full training with you, and a lot of the stuff is training. I saw a question about the DNC scrub. Yes, that's part of the software as well. We do a DNC scrub for you as well. So guys, that kind of stuff I'd recommend just reaching out to support. We'll do a live detailed training with you on how to do it. And if you don't, let's say you have questions on the details of the software like that, feel free to reach out to us. We can get into your product specific questions. Can I see a replay of this, guys? Missed most of it. Absolutely, Ahmad. We're going to have a recording. I'm going to post it on the Facebook group. So you will be able to access it right on the Facebook group, and I'll probably send an email to our users. So if I upload layouts, will it deliver, therefore not getting charged? No, it'll still try to deliver. It charges on the attempt. But then once we find out that the next time around you try to upload that same landline, it's going to scrub it out of your list, so you won't get charged for it on the second attempt. So Carlos getting some love. Carlos getting some love up in here, man. Carlos is my man. I wouldn't be here without him, and he's really helped us out a lot with support. He is thebomb.com, man. So thanks, Carlos, for all you do. All right, guys. So a couple housekeeping notes. Number one, if you are not on the Facebook group, the private Facebook group, we have a public group and then a private member-only Facebook group. If you're not, go in and join that right now, and we will accept your invite to that. Number two, we're wrapping up. 1 minute. Number two, we are, add us on Instagram, flipping_Tampa. Alex, what's your Instagram? If you can type it into the Zoom chat.
Alex Jandick official. There we go.
And guys, we are very excited for everything that's coming out this year. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Alex, for jumping on. And guys, let's go crush it in 2020.
Hell yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you for the hour and a half that you took with us, and crush it.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Take care. Thanks, Alex.
Bye. Yep.
Bye.